Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tesla Life number 185. Here we are, January 20th, 2021. Welcome to the show, everyone. With us, as always, we have Mr. Patrick Connor joining us from the West Coast. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. Hello, everybody out there in the Tesla Life world. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Tesla Life. Welcome to a new administration that hopefully helps take us to a future free from fossil fuels.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. In fact, I believe one of the first signings of the new president was already on that path by stopping the Keystone Pipeline permit.
Awesome. Yes.
Yep. So you already on your way. Already on your way.
So what are your compatriots going to do about sending us tar sands?
Well, I think we're going to bill you $1 billion for ripping up the contract first. Of course, that'll be from the province of Alberta because they've already invested $1 billion. So I expect that in the mail sometime in the near future.
Oh man!
But that's the way it goes between countries. When another administration signs something, another rips it up. Who knows? But that is the way it is at this point. We'll see if things change. But I'm looking forward to bigger and greater things as time goes along with this new American administration. Also joining us from the D.C. area where all the action was today, Mr. Casey Green.
How's everybody doing today?
Very good. Casey, still in lockdown in D.C. area?
Still in lockdown, but it was worth it this time.
Absolutely. The world's been watching what's been going on in your neck of the woods over the past, I guess, full day now.
Absolutely.
Inauguration day and now evening. So, we're exciting stuff. Changes are coming.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about a Peloton bike, but somebody pointed out there's a full gym in that place. Why does it matter?
Well, with that, Tesla news never sleeps, inauguration or not. Mr. Patrick Connor's got a few stories for us. He's going to start off, but I think he's going to start off with something else as well.
That's right. So last week, right after the show was over, I checked my email and found out that I had a package delivered. And here it is. So I'm a collector. I usually something like this in the past I would have never opened, and but one thing that COVID's taught me is that life is short. So I gotta break the seal here. I'm gonna open this up and enjoy some.
Now, how's Patrick going to be able to share that with us virtually? Yeah. How's that going to work? I know he's a technical guy, so he's probably got it all figured out.
I suspect he's going to hurry my courier up so mine will show up.
So this is a sipping tequila. And that means no salt, no lime. I'm serving it over ice, but you can serve it cellar temperature, room temperature. Any of those are acceptable.
Gotta get it right way around.
I don't want to spill it here, so gotta be extra careful. So you always got to start with the smell.
How does it smell?
Oh, you can smell the barrel.
Oh.
It's definitely got some of that oak hints in it. This is twice distilled, 80 proof. Oh, that's good. Oh, it starts with like some vanilla. Then there's the cinnamon follow through. It's a rich, complex layering at the end. This is good stuff.
So, Patrick, are you a tequila connoisseur? Have you divulged in much tequila before?
Tequilas, no. This is the Northwest. I'm a craft beer fan for the most part. A lot of the tasting mechanisms are the same as far as that goes. Just refining your palate to detect different stuff. And then I've been to Ireland a couple times, which doing the whiskey tours there, they teach you how to do whiskey tasting as part of the tour. And if you ever go to Ireland, you should to do those. There's a couple different distilleries, and I did the Jameson one, and the other one is slipping my mind. But yeah, they definitely go through, like, you can tell if something has been single distilled or twice distilled or even triple distilled by what part of your palate it excites. It's really cool. Just it's fun time, and so yeah, I'm not disappointed. Cheers to all my Tesla Life friends out there, and here's to a better future for all of us.
Cheers.
All right, so after drinking, now I suppose you want me to do some work. Okay, let's pull up story numero uno. So the NTSA has asked Tesla to recall some Tesla Model S's and X's. And I recently had this part replaced in mine. And so we've got, this story here is from Electrek, Fred Lambert. And I also wrote one on my blog with the Please Stand By logo, because it was and this could cause problems with the screen. So the NTSA's argument is, well, the screen is pretty essential for this vehicle. You need it for the backup camera, among other things that are safety essential. So Tesla issued last November a extended warranty. And they didn't call it a recall, but they extended the warranty to cover vehicles that were from 2012 to 2018. That was the years that were affected by this. If they were less than 8 years old and had fewer than 100,000 miles, then you could have this upgrade for free, or this repair for free, which is exactly what I just did. And so even though they issued that last November, the NTSA is saying, well, that's not good enough. But I'm really starting to wonder, it's 8 years, so only like the earliest 2012 vehicles wouldn't be covered. And most of those have probably already had this problem and had it fixed. And if you had it fixed within that 8 year from delivery, Tesla's offering refunds. So they would be eligible for the reimbursement. So, okay, so that covers most of the vehicles. Now the only people that are left out of this are the people over 100,000 miles. And well, they're road warriors, and I don't know what percentage of vehicles that would be. So it's that small percentage that are still not covered. The way that most of these articles are written, it's like any car Tesla made before 2018 has to be recalled, and no, it's not that big of a deal. As with many things, the hype is way more clickbaity than the truth.
There are some good side effects to it being a recall, though. You know how Tesla likes to blacklist cars because they've had the paint scratched to hell and they've been total lost, even though there was no physical damage to the car. You now have to service that car because it's a recall. You can't just say, "Oh, it's unsupported. We don't want to deal with it."
Out of warranty.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And
so
my old car had it done. Actually, not this particular repair. They just replaced the whole MCU.
Yeah,
So,
that's the other thing is that so this is with MCU1 vehicles, and they have an MCU2 upgrade. So if you want to get the latest games and have Netflix in your car, you can get the upgrade. That incidentally fixes this, but you get a better vehicle out of it. And in fact, I'm wondering if they do this recall, how many people would opt for that instead? And the Tesla might end up, the people get a better car out of it, and it gets the repair. So win-win on both sides if that's what you wanted.
yeah, the other good thing about it being the 8 years and the 100,000 miles is most, well, not most, but I'd say a large chunk of the failures happened, at least the first failure happened within that period. And then if somebody had a repeat failure, it might have happened again within the extended warranty, the one for the part. But that's not as likely if they replaced it with the same piece rather than the upgraded part.
Yeah, it would be interesting to know some of the facts and figures of this. Of course, that will not be released,
Right.
But it would certainly be interesting to see where the problems happened, and what number of people are covered or not covered under both of these plans.
Yeah, the good news is Tesla has plenty of cash in the bank from their capital raises and their profits. So they can cover this, and it's really supporting the people that have been there from them when they really needed it in 2013, 14, 15. So yeah, I hope they do the right thing. But as I said, it's a small number of people, and so it's not like it's
the world's not ending. The amount of cars they did were compared to the amount of cars they do today. The amount of cars back then were just a drop in the bucket.
Exactly.
Not that they don't appreciate the customers, and not that we don't appreciate all of you. It's just a matter of it's not going to break the company.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, I just ticked off all of our 2014 watchers who have 140,000 miles and are mad they didn't get this. I'm sorry. But okay. All right. Number 2, Tesla instructs stores to liquidate available S's and X's. So we have been talking about, is this going to be the refresh? Is this the S and X refresh? And there's been hint after hint. And here's yet another one to throw in that pile that says it could be, to tip that scale just a little bit more. We had the factory shut down. When was that? December 15th to the end of the year or something like that. And and now we've got this inventory clear out sale going. And that could mean that something new is coming, and they want to clear out, make room for it, have if you get rid of all the old inventory, you don't have to discount it. So this really could be the arrival of the refresh S and X. What do you guys think?
Well, there's another thing to tip the scale even a little bit more. Production was supposed to start on Monday, this past Monday. Nothing has happened yet. So there's been no official, there's people watching the factory for S's and X's leaving. But it is something that is interesting to show that there's been no publicity about this yet. So here we are, we're now 3 days into the week, and still nothing has been reported. And someone indicated that on Monday, no S's came out of the factory on Monday, even though they were back to production.
John from Tesla owner Silicon Valley, he has been driving past the factory to take a look and taking videos. One thing that I'm reminded of is that they have storage for a substantial amount of vehicles inside the factory.
That's true.
So they could have started and just maybe there really is something they don't want to show us, and so they just don't let them outside where they can be photographed, because Musk knows about the drone crew and
they know we're watching. This is going to be a regular feature on this show every week until we get an answer. That I guarantee you.
It is certainly and heightens the anticipation, because we all are expecting something to happen. And when they don't roll out the cars as they normally do, then you're beginning to think that there's more credence to this rumor.
Yeah.
And it better be at least a 2 fire emoji reveal.
Exactly.
Although after Musk's use of the 2 fire emoji, I just don't know if he knows what that means.
Right? I'm going to continue to suggest that it doesn't, that nothing is going to happen, and then be pleasantly surprised if something does happen.
Yeah.
But,
and then, of course, we do have the earnings call coming up on the 27th, I believe. Yeah. And in that case as well, that would certainly be a nice thing to add to the announcements on that day.
Yes.
Here's a refreshed product.
It could be, but they've never released a new model on an earnings call before.
You're right. They have dropped hints, so that's all I expect. Yeah, that's not where they do product reveals. In fact, they've been asked about that, and Musk specifically has said this is not the forum for that kind of information to be revealed.
Exactly. What I do expect to see is if there are any changes. I mean, I would be glad if there's any larger changes, but I would expect that they might do some streamlining of the assembly, maybe cast some of the parts, because Model S and Model X are a bunch of parts welded together. I expect to see a heat pump on there, maybe the new battery cells, because they've been making a lot of the new battery cells, and they I don't know where they're going.
Right.
Yeah,
we have a story about that a little
later. Making a ton of them, and what are they doing? Storing them?
throwing them all away.
Put them in a sled. Put them in a car.
Right, because semis aren't rolling off the line yet, and we know they're going to be in there, and the Cybertrucks aren't rolling off the line yet. We know they're going to be in there. But if they're not going there, where are they going?
Where are they going?
Either they're making a lot of prototype semis, or they're going into the fixed storage, or I just, even if this isn't like an official, like, hey, the Model S is moving to that, but I can see the being low enough volume that might as well try Model S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the speculation. So we're definitely keeping our eye on it. Follow us on our Twitter feed. As soon as we find something or get a photo of something, we'll certainly share it with you. You can follow us there at The Tesla Life. Also on our Facebook page, The Tesla Life #1. Look for that through the week, and you'll stay on top of it just as we are. With that, next story, Model Y, which is quite in the news this week. Model Y has been added to the Quebec 8K rebate program in the province of Quebec. So that's great for Canadians who reside in Quebec. That is something that that car qualifies for based on its price, and that's been just added. So anyone in Quebec has the ability now to get that rebate applied on Model Y officially. Now,
is that as it comes, or is it been?
I'm sorry, Casey. What was that?
Is that as it comes, or has it been further reduced, like the Model 3 was?
It is as it comes. So it's 8K. It's comes right off of the car. Government collects it or pays it on invoice. So. Nice. That just comes right off. It's not a tax incentive. So the other thing that is a rumor at this point is that Canada has a $5,000 federal rebate on electric vehicles.
That's the one.
But the problem is that is capped at an amount that is less than the Model Y currently. But Tesla has made some changes to the Model Y pricing. And it is now within just, I think it's under $2,000 for that rebate program. And of course, there's different rules that apply between a 5-seater and a 7-seater. A 7-seater bumps that amount up a little higher. So there is speculation, and it's only speculation at this point, that Tesla could make a Model Y with, say, a lower battery amount like they did the Model 3, and allow the other cars to qualify for the rebate, which is how the program works. You got to have a base car that meets the price requirement, and then other cars that have larger batteries or extra things like bigger batteries or extra seats or things of that nature, they still qualify for the rebate. So that'd be pretty sweet, especially if you were Quebec or BC, where you get $8,000 provincially and $5,000 federally. Together, $13,000. So that speculation is running rampant here in Canada, and everyone is watching it because the SR standard range is now hit the books in Canada that you can purchase it. And there's talk about they're going to throw in a couple of seats, up the price a little bit, have the 7-seater, and be able to qualify for the rebate. So again, all up in the air now, but there was an article in Drive Tesla Canada, which we've linked to in the show notes, as well as our Twitter feed, that you can read all about it.
So in theory, you could have an SR minus for real this time. A lot of people call the regular Model 3 an SR minus. It's the Model 3 standard range. The other one is the SR plus. Yeah, so they could really have an SR minus this time.
They may just like they did with the 3.
Right, software lock some range.
In case you commented on this last time about how Canada won't move and allow Tesla to up the battery in that locked battery, that Model 3 minus. But what that's doing is it's locking in that car is available for purchase, so it qualifies for the rebate program. So it has to remain there. And if they allow
hold on. If I buy a car, I can go out and get a wrap put on it. I can get new wheels, new rims. I can upgrade it in all sorts of ways that would push it beyond some base price that I got from the dealership.
Not a manufactured price.
Right. So why couldn't I buy a vehicle and then later pay some amount to unlock battery range? Just because you can do other upgrades to your car without it being
You
disqualified.
could if it was a third party that unlocked it, but if the manufacturer unlocks it, then they're just playing with numbers.
Engineerix, here we come. That'd be the one time I approve
So that, but the reason they stuck with that is that another reason may be that they wanted the Y to enter this program as well. So maybe that's why they didn't have that offer. They didn't want to ruffle any feathers in the government that were getting around or skirting the rules. What they wanted to do is have another car to be able to sell with that rebate on it. Again, speculation at this point, but it is something that a lot of people are watching.
Yeah, nothing against the work of the engineering guys, just that ethically it's skirting a gray line. But that at that point, when the government's messing with you, I might be inclined to, if I were a Canadian in those shoes, I might be inclined to get the chip and plop it in there.
If you can do it yourself, they're not going to have any legs to stand on. Or if you can get a third party to do it, again, not going to have any legs to stand on. But
Tesla Accessories Limited,
the manufacturer, they're going to have something to say about it, I'm sure. Well, with that, Casey's got our next story about someone else that likes to tinker with Teslas.
Yes. So our friend Sandy Munro has got himself a 2021 Model 3. And he's already put out, I think, 3, maybe 4 videos on it now. I'm still catching up. But the comments about the exterior sounded like a little bit of a repeat. But when he got inside the car and looked underneath the car, sorry about my neighbors there. They think it's a racetrack. It's just a 2-lane road. Anyway, once he got under the hood and when he got to the driver's side of the car, also he was happy. But one of the taillights was sticking out longer than it should have, and the front passenger door was kind of pinchy, but it wasn't biting anything, and it wasn't rubbing its paint off. But it was what we always hear: "Oh, Tesla can't build a car straight." But he also referenced that they got their new safety rating on the Model Y, and he's like, I don't have any problems thinking this car's going to be safe. And then the interior is put together perfectly, and the driver's side is put together perfectly. And I think they're getting ready to go on a road trip before they tear it apart. So I'm excited to see where he takes this.
The other thing that he liked about it was the paint job.
Oh, yes, he does. Paint was improved.
Yeah, he said that was vastly improved, and really the only major flaw that I saw in the video was that passenger side door with the top half of the car under 1 millimeter, he said, and the lower half being 5 millimeters.
Right.
So
and then that taillight.
There was a wild discrepancy on that passenger side door, but again, they're getting some things right. They're improving. It's not perfect yet, but at least they are on a path to improve things. I'm glad the paint job is improved over door alignment, at least for the fact that the paint's going to be there longer, and of course you can't adjust the paint as you can a door.
Exactly. And then they've got that robot eye at the end of the line now that's supposed to do the inspections. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't get bored. It doesn't overlook things. As long as the lens is clean, it's going to do the same inspection every time. So hopefully that will be useful data, and they'll act upon it, and that the repairs that they make will be something that will make these folks happy.
What I would like to happen, and this probably won't happen, but it would be very interesting for Sandy to get his hand on the Shanghai Model 3.
Yes, I think that we can get that arranged somehow.
Run that through his inspection, his fit and finish inspection, to see if there's any differences there.
Side by side, that would be perfect.
Probably tough to get Sandy to push out the coin to put that thing in a container and send it over to America, I'm sure.
I wonder if we could find somebody to sponsor him.
Oh yeah, fly him over there instead. It might be easier.
Oh yeah, fly him over, or sponsor somebody to get a container and send them 2021 Model Y made in China over to the shop. Because if it's not going to be on the road, I think it's a little easier to get permits to import it than it is if they plan to drive it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
With that, Casey's got our next story. We're kind of bunching them, but this is kind of interesting. What's this about, Casey?
So one Jamie Lynn Spears, sister to the one and only Britney Spears, she has had a rash of cat deaths, and it's so sad it's funny. Um, Initially, she blamed Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
And where was her exact wording on that? Either way, she's saying that they're too quiet, they're a cat killer, it's a safety problem, blah,
Yeah,
blah,
here's the quote. Someone's got to let Elon Musk know that the Tesla is a secret cat killer.
Yes. And so then she came back, and then she had a line by line. It sounded like a lawyer wrote it for her, disputing what she said. She said that that the Tesla isn't a cat killer. It hasn't killed any of her cats. Operator error. It's like,
so she talked about her cat
not?
Turkey dying, and she's blaming Tesla. So did the cat actually die? Was it run over by some other car? And she talked about how this was just one of several cats that they've had run over.
To the point where she lost track of how many cats.
Yeah, here's the actual quote from the article. We have now lost, I don't even want to tell you how many cats, because they don't hear the Tesla crank and unfortunate things happen. It's really devastating and a tragedy for everyone involved, end quote.
And so the very first thing that ran through my mind when she said is she wants to make the car make a noise when it cranks. They've been doing this for over a year.
I don't even know what it means for a Tesla to crank, but
well, when you operate a PWS equipped Tesla, you push the brake and it goes into the ready state, or you push the brake and put in your pin and it goes to the ready state. As soon as you shift into drive or reverse, you get one of the spaceship noises, or now with the boombox, you get one of the custom noises. And
or just the parking brake releasing makes a noise. And cats have really good hearing.
So every Tesla makes a noise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Guys, you're missing the point. In the quote, she says, "I don't even want to tell you how many cats, because they don't hear it." So and I'm thinking, okay, say something did happen, and unfortunately you ran over your cat, and your cat is now a pancake. I get it. It might happen, okay?
Yeah.
But the second cat, and I don't even know how many I can tell you.
It's got to be more than two. I know that she and her sister can count 12 too.
There's something wrong with that statement, that you've run over one cat and now you don't check to see if your other 12 cats are around. You just go to the store and buy a third and 10th and 14th cat. Like, it's crazy.
In her updated statement, she said that they do check for cats, but I mean, nothing adds up between the two statements. Like,
it's completely wrong. It
sounds like her lawyer and the Tesla lawyer got together and they quickly realized that they should stop what they were doing.
Counting cats. Yeah, it's just wrong. So I don't know if this is just promotion for herself. Maybe she's trying to get back on her Zoe show or start it off again. But it's just wrong. Like, that statement to me screams incompetence.
Well, I mean, they have a reputation, and she's not helping it. It's like my wife says. I mean, she's from Thailand, and she says, if you know that there's a reputation for your people to not be good drivers, do better. Prove it wrong. Prove it wrong out of spite. And
oh man, yeah. That was just. I just love that quote. That's just tells me there's a problem. You go through the trauma of your cat being turned into a pancake, and you don't look out for your other 12 cats? Like, come on.
We know it's more than 3, because 1, 2, 3. Oh, I lost track.
Craziness.
No, she didn't say she lost track. She said, "I don't want to tell you." So that could be 0. I just want attention. I don't want to tell you how many cats have actually been hurt.
Well, if her second statement is true, then no cats probably died. Maybe they had a close call.
Right.
Well, we'll see if the cat count goes up in the future. But
and if you run an animal shelter or a breeder, or your cat just had to have some kittens, and you see one of the Spears just come by, just
do not give your cat to a Spear. Absolutely not. Yep. Yeah. Next story. Looks like the new door trim that we've been seeing on updated Model Ys and possibly Model 3s are going to be going to those cars across all countries, because in Europe they started to show up on the order form. So, and that is just a thin piece of either colored wood trim or the white trim, depending if you have a performance version, is now appearing on the door panels that connects to the wood trim or the white trim on the dash. So that change looks like it's going to go company-wide now that it's not only seen in Shanghai, but now on European websites. So most likely in your neck of the woods, wherever you are, once they run out of current supplier inventory, they'll probably be switching over to the new colored panels or with that little extra bit of color on those panels. It's not a huge difference, but it is a nice touch. It kind of ties the doors into the dash. So
yeah, I like
kind
that
of looks good.
Yeah,
I could take it or leave it. My only complaint was that the ones that we've seen, the wood grain direction doesn't match the direction on the dash. If they matched, I'd be cool. Or if they matched when the door was closed. They definitely match if the door was wide open, but you don't drive that way.
No.
And hopefully not. And I've seen a couple people complaining that it exists. They're like, "Oh, it's not simple. It's blah blah blah." Like we always say, if you like it when you see it, buy it because it's going to change, and you might not like the new change, or you may have buyer's remorse, and the new thing is great, but at least what you bought is exactly what you knew you were getting, and then the next one you can get.
Exactly.
And another Model Y story. This, of course, is, as we were talking about last week, deliveries were imminent in China for the Model Y. And that has now happened as of Monday. In fact, Tesla kicked it off with a bit of a bang where they opened up deliveries and at 10 different metropolitan areas in China. So they're starting to move those Ys out. And now those DMV lines that we see pictures of in Shanghai and around are going to be filled with 3s and Ys because as we mentioned in a previous show, there was a huge amount of pre-orders on those cars, and they're going to be able to sell every one they make. In fact, they sold, they believe, over 100,000, which will be the first quarter alone. So things are moving fast in China for Model Y. So good to see, and happy to see that they did a rollout in such a large order there.
It's a little off topic, but I'm a little jealous of the Chinese Twitter. They get a lot more space because of the way their language works.
One character can say a lot
they're
more.
Not,
yes.
What are they? They're not 288 characters. They're
they're still 280 characters, but they, because of the way their language works, each character represents whole concepts and words, so they can make more use of it.
Okay, all right. So they're writing novels. They're writing novels when we're doing point forms. Okay,
we're doing postcards, and they've got a whole press release right there in the tweet. But it's good news. I mean, it's exactly like Musk has told us. The Model Y is appearing to be, it's going to be their bestseller, and I don't know.
We're really not going to know, right? Like, really, when numbers are released by Tesla, they bind them together. So the 3 and the Y are together, the S and the X are together. So we never really get a sense as to which one is selling more or if the amount is increasing or decreasing.
True.
Right, and that's probably for the best because they make a similar profit on each, and if one is cannibalizing the other, that's okay. Customers are getting what they want, and Tesla's still selling vehicles. So how many negative articles would there be if Y sales went up by 15%, but 3 sales went down by 10%? Overall, there'd still be a net increase of vehicles, but there would still be horrible Model 3 sales crashing, tanking. Tesla's going to go bankrupt anytime. So I'm glad they're doing it this way.
I would think, Patrick, that over this amount of time, now that Tesla has moved out of that thing where everyone is spelling out their demise because they're not a profitable company. I think that over time, I think some of that should wash away. But I get it. They're going to continue.
That's a nice rational thought, and which is why I completely think it's not accurate.
I might say it's quite logical. I'm curious what happens to Model 3 and Model Y standard range when Cybertruck base model launches, because right now that actually is less expensive than the other two, and it's bigger. I think that, like, Obviously, if size is an issue, like the Cybertruck won't fit in a lot of people's garage, and some people just really don't like oversized vehicles. But I'm curious for the people who are out there looking for a bargain, 42 versus 39, are they going to do it?
I don't think
Or
there's a
are we going to
whole
see the
lot of
Model 3 and Y drop?
cross shopping between these two models. I'm just throw that
I'm
out
not saying
there.
they're cross shopping it for practicality. I'm just saying if you're in it for a Tesla and you're looking purely at dollars,
And you can only get one.
Again, okay, so people don't make car purchases rationally. They make them emotionally and then justify them with their rational brain. The rational brain doesn't make the choice. It just justifies the emotional decision. So you're going to make an emotional decision whether you like the 3, the Y, or the Cybertruck. And then you're going to everything after that's already, so it's not going to be like, oh, this one's cheaper, so I'll get the truck instead of the car. No, they're not in the same decision. You've already branched.
I'd say maybe 2% of my cars ever sold were using logic. Everything else was like, hey, let's just go for a spin.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's just the type of simians we are.
But do we think that we'll see Tesla do anything to the Cybertruck to make it more or less appealing than the less expensive cars, or are they just going to let the chips fall?
That's a good question. But also keep in mind that the Y, as the 3, it might go down in price a little bit too.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
So Tesla's done that with the 3. They've already done that with the 3. And of course they're trying to get to a more sustainable future. If they're getting more profits from selling more cars and they're getting better margins on the parts they're buying because of volume, there may be a price decrease here and there thrown in for fun. Before. Yeah,
multiple times. I mean, look at the Performance Model X. That costs a lot less than the Performance Model X used to cost.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, the X especially, the prices come down. I was just looking at what I spent on mine and what I could get for that today, and it's like, oh no.
You've also got what Patrick calls the Model Next. That is priced at starting at 25. I don't know what happens after you add 10 grand of autopilot onto it, but
or more.
Or more, yes.
Yeah, that one's the perfect candidate for the autopilot lease.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or rental, or whatever they're going to call it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry to take it off on a tangent, but it played in nicely with that.
Absolutely. Next story. Tesla has signed another extension on its deal with Jeff Dahn's battery research lab at Delhouse University in Nova Scotia, Canada. Another 5-year deal has been inked, and Jeff is actually staying, but other chairmen are being added to the board there. So Jeff will have more free time and ability to work on projects he wants to work on within the research lab. But certainly, from what it seems, with the 4680 and battery day and the updates on the million mile and even 2 million mile battery that we've heard, it sounds like this battery lab has worked very well with Tesla, and they want to hold on to it for at least another 5 years as they continue battery enhancements. And that's good to see, and glad it's working out and they want to continue, because so far it seems like things have really worked out well for both parties. So that's great. That's great. So next story, speaking of the million mile battery, Tesla released a video just this week, and it is one, of course, done to music that they typically do. And in this song that they paired the video to, they talk about a million miles as they're showing a battery line and the 4680 zipping through it in multiple different ways in the manufacturing process. Kind of cool. Definitely watch it. There's a link in the notes to watch it. I love the spin up of the jelly roll as they make it larger as soon as it starts spooling. That's really cool. But they kind of throw in that million mile hint or Easter egg, which is part of the song, and it leads people to believe or speculate that Maybe they're at that million miles with the 4680. Maybe it is going to be the first million-mile battery that will be introduced. And
Maybe so.
would love to pair that with a refresh of the S. But it would be very interesting to see. And it's, again, speculation, but Tesla loves to throw in those little Easter eggs, as we've seen in the past. Even with Patrick's Tequila, as it sits in posters across different Tesla showrooms inside the house on a table, far before it was ever released to the public. So fantastic to see, and this could be one of those other things that Tesla's doing.
So with the million miles, they never did mention that at Battery Day, right? I mean,
No,
it was
they
in
did.
the rumors. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really surprised about that, and I don't know why they wouldn't have come out with that.
They weren't ready to say it.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because they hadn't finished the testing that they needed to release it, or if they were still trying to decide between, okay, how fast do we want these to charge and how will that impact longevity? Some applications we could make it a million-mile battery easy, but if we want it to charge faster and say like the Semi, then maybe it would only be 800,000 miles, and so we don't want to say million miles. I really wish they would have clarified some of that at Battery Day.
Yeah. And then I was impressed with the shot. I wasn't sure if it was real time or if it was slow-mo. If it was slow-mo, then, I mean, that's par for the course. But if that was real time, I mean, it's a little slower than one might think, but it's still impressively fast.
Yeah, it's amazing how the canisters, the cans, the jelly rolls, and the different aspects of marrying them together are shown in the video, and just the way that the individual cells are grouped. Sometimes they're singles, then they're put into groups, and then ultimately they look like they're put in trays that are stored on massive warehouse. Stacking ability as they put them off into the warehouse to be stored. But definitely take a few moments and watch the video that's linked in the notes, and you'll be impressed, I'm sure.
And then, as we said on previous shows, Elon said that they were inspired by bottling plants and other retail and food and toy type manufacturers where they have to do high volume, small parts quickly. And it's just impressive. It looks exactly like if you switched out the bottling plants, it looks just like they're filling up soda bottles.
Yeah, and that almost, as we mentioned earlier in the show, that kind of leads us to believe if they're making this many batteries, where are they going? Every day they're pushing out this amount of batteries. You don't have storage forever. Where are all these batteries going? So again, that could roll into the rumor mill as well.
Yeah.
With that, Casey, I'm going to pull you up for the next story about a SpaceX update.
Yes. So there was a photographer who got a little bored with the last SpaceX Starlink launch delay. They delayed because of weather in the recovery zone, and even today when they did the launch for real, they said it was out of envelope, so they were actually breaking new ground, and the spacecraft still landed bullseye right in the middle of the drone ship. And so while this photographer was just chilling out waiting, he ended up doing some research, and he found a company that sounded like some of Musk's favorite hobbies. And then somebody else went and did the research and found out that the person in charge of the funny named company is the head of acquisitions for SpaceX. And so then it all started tied together. Everybody looked at the registrations for when these oil derricks were purchased, and so it turns out that that SpaceX purchased 2 oil rigs shortly after Musk had said something to the effect of floating ocean platforms are cool. And then they come to find out that shortly after he said that he bought 2 oil platforms, and it looks like they're going to get ready to refurbish them to handle Starship launch and catch. And that is just super cool and phenomenal to me. And then somebody else caught photos of them actually in port, and they move so fast at SpaceX. Somebody else showed photos of their tower that separates from the air oxygen and nitrogen, and they said they're going to use it with their natural gas supply to help make their methane for the Starship. And this company just never ceases to amaze.
So they actually have purchased 2 used oil rigs. Okay, and they're naming them after Mars moons, I understand.
Yes.
And these are going to be spaceports? Is that
what? Be floating spaceports.
They're going to be floating spaceports.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So they've already gone out and bought the spaceports, the hardware. They have to obviously probably do some conversion to them.
Certainly.
And then they'll be placing them. They haven't said where they're going to place them, but obviously those spaceports are pushed out into the water, into the oceans, so that they don't have any problem with sonic booms and disruptive things as these large supersonic vehicles take off and land close to land. So
exactly.
Wow, that's amazing.
Just like the drone ships themselves, they used to be basically supply vessels for oil rigs. They refurbished them so they were just flat decks that you could land Falcon 9 on, and now you've got a much bigger floating platform that they're going to land Starship on, and that's incredible.
Yeah, that is something. So won't that be something to see? Them coming in and landing on a floating platform that is that big, like an oil rig, like absolutely large scale piece of equipment. But again, it has to be for the size of the Starship, right?
Exactly. And it also plays into the Bezos and Musk rivalry. At some point, somebody was talking about the drone ships, the existing ones, and Bezos was like, oh, well, I've just bought a cruise ship to launch rockets. And not very long after that, Musk bought the oil platforms.
Oh, the one-upsmanship of billionaires.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
hey,
indeed.
So, it's good to know that these oil rigs are going to have some meaningful purpose after they're no longer needed for their oil extraction. So that's great. We can retire them and put them to use doing something that is much less destructive to the planet.
Yes. And SpaceX bought them from a company that went bankrupt digging for oil. The time has come. They don't realize it.
They probably got them for a song. Like
yes.
Right. Yeah. Who else was in the market for those?
Yeah. So of course, the next stage, of course, to go beyond floating oil rigs as your spaceports is you're gonna have to buy a volcano or something to land your just like Moonraker.
Exactly. It was around 2005 that these vessels were registered with the Republic of Liberia with the previous company. And on September 11th of 2020 is when they were signed over, when one of them was signed over, Demios was signed over to SpaceX's holding company. And on September 2nd of 2020 is when Phobos was signed over to SpaceX's holding company.
Wow. So again, SpaceX moving in ways that we weren't even expecting.
Right.
Quickly gaining assets and getting ready for those first flights. Again, we're still waiting for that second belly flop from the Starship. That should be coming up soon. They've done 3 static fires of the engine in a row on the same day. So hopefully we'll see another landing, this time with a less spectacular ending result. Instead of an explosion, just a nice pinpoint landing would be great.
Exactly. So
explosions are fun too. So
yeah, well, I can't deny you that. That was exciting.
So they replaced 2 of those 3 engines immediately after the test, and they were scheduled for another test this morning. But I was watching American Politics. How did it go? Does anyone know? This morning's test?
I do not know. No, I don't know.
I too was watching Politics.
Oh, okay.
But on this repurposing of old stuff. When last summer we took a little vacation and went to Florence on the coast, Florence, Oregon, on the coast here in Oregon, and we stopped at this donut shop in Delhi, and about halfway through, like, hey, look out there, they've got old pumps. Oh, they're decommissioned. So this place used to be a gas station. So this is the one time I can say I took my Tesla to a gas station, and it was because they converted it to a donut shop. So yeah, this is exactly the kind of stuff we need to do to move beyond fossil fuels.
So the pumps, of course, were filled with sprinkles, right?
Yes. Jimmy's just spraying out of them.
So I've taken mine to a couple of them, but mainly because there are superchargers there, and also you've got in Tacoma Point, Maryland, you've got the gasless station that's converted. You know,
the converted
then,
station.
Yep, and then in Vienna, Virginia, up here we've got a Wawa that's also a gasless station. There's no gas, but it's a gas station, and the closest thing it has to refueling is it's got the air pump, and it's got 8 version 3 superchargers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, next story is about Tesla hiring some new Twitter employees. And apparently these people are going to be hired to deal with issues that are currently now directly sent to Elon through Twitter about issues or problems or questions that they have about Tesla. And Tesla wants to hire a few employees to help deal with the onslaught of questions and comments. And this is kind of interesting. I'm not sure why this would be. I guess are people dealing with Twitter that much that if they have an issue or a problem, are they spouting about it because they want it to be fixed, or are they spouting about it to get attention? Or what do you guys think the issue is here with people not doing the normal walkthrough of service as opposed to spouting out on Twitter?
Well, I mean, when you look at how many tweets Elon gets every time he tweets, you get XYZ amount of suggestions. You get a lot of people grumbling about what's wrong. And then you've got the issue that I've been talking about for years now, that the service, there's somewhere in the middle between the frontline employees and the regular managers and the executive team that is just insulating them from everything that is right and everything that is wrong with service. And so it seems that Musk and the executive team don't know how much help service could use right now. And he gets a lot of noise. I mean, you get all the legitimate traffic on every tweet, and then you get all the spam and all the memes, and he's a busy guy. And in addition to all of that, that's just when he tweets. When he doesn't tweet, there's still all these Tesla owners and wannabe owners shooting questions at him and at the regular official Tesla handle. And since they don't have a public relations team, they need somebody to handle it.
Yeah, they've grown so fast that, as we said earlier, their cars are not perfect. There are things that come up, and people who have problems, and people who don't understand. Okay, I got a new software release. Where's this setting? And there are forums and Facebook pages, and so people often turn to social media for these problems. And we have a community. A lot of times they can get the answers there, and that's great. But there are times where there's something that it will take a change to the software, and this is one avenue people have for getting those suggestions out there. So it makes sense that in the modern world, this is one of the venues that people use. That Tesla should have people whose full-time job it is to comb that. And help people with problems and take legitimate suggestions and send them up the chain. But it takes a lot of time to filter through. Like Casey said, the signal to noise ratio is not great on social media. And is this somebody who's never going to be happy, or is it someone who's isn't even an owner and just spouting, "Oh, I've got this problem," and they don't even have a car. They're just trying to.
My Wompy wheels fell off. I'm in Australia and I'm complaining about all these cars in America.
Yeah. We've seen it's all over the map. So having
I'm a journalist complaining about the snacks, and then he gets banned for buying cars.
Yeah. Yes. So if you're interested in that job, Tesla is hiring. They'll want to hear from you if you are good at Twitter, and that's
Twitter customer service.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that it's I would think that you're going to be dealing with issues mostly, so you've got to be a resilient person to deal with this type of thing. But I don't know. I just think it would be easier if there were other ways to this. But you look at Tesla slash Elon's Twitter handle, and you see how many people are following him. And as Casey
Yeah.
says, whenever he puts out something or even doesn't, you see the amount of tweets that are going out. Like we're talking millions
Yes.
every
Mhm.
time he says anything, and it's like, how do you expect him to respond to any of this?
But
When
see, that's
the
the
noise
problem.
is so great.
Oftentimes it is. He does respond. Like people have been
No,
working on.
not often. Very
Sometimes, not
small,
comparatively
a
often.
very extremely small amount because we're
Mhm.
only seeing what he responds to. You
Right.
did you did see the other million questions that he didn't
Yes.
respond to.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I put that out of context. Often, as in when people are having problems, they're being stonewalled by the company. It feels like often that he answers, and then stuff just gets done, and it just stuff moves out of the way. But other times, we know the company isn't always listening to his tweets because he'll just say some random shit, and it won't happen, or they'll do it kind of opposite the way that he implied, and
I've often thought that every employee that works for Tesla should be required to follow Elon on Twitter and have alerts on their
I
phone
think
when he sends out a tweet, because
I think
you're
every
right,
tweet.
there is certainly a disconnect
Yeah,
between him and many of his employees.
I think every time he tweets, it should send out as an email to all hands.
Or or
There you go.
show up in the showroom on the big screens.
Oh no, don't do that, because he could be talking some major poo poo, and
But there was one example I saw this week where somebody tweeted and complained that autopilot was not being recognized on their trade-in. And that absolutely, if you've paid for that feature and it doesn't stay with you, it stays with the car, then it should be recognized in the car in the trade-in. And they were being told no, because Tesla can turn that feature off when they resell it, that it's not being recognized. Well, that's BS. That would be fine if I got to just transfer it to my other car, then do whatever you want. But that's not how it works, which means they need to recognize that and give you some value for it so that you can pay for it for your new Tesla, especially if you're trading in to Tesla to buy a Tesla. And so this was tweeted at Musk. He said, "You're right. This is a problem, and it will get fixed." And I'm like, "Well, that's exactly." It shouldn't have happened in the first place, but it did, and they fixed it. So that's great.
I'd be good with a small transfer fee.
Yeah,
But stuff like that, exactly.
Yeah,
A
they're
small
going to
transfer
have to.
fee makes sense.
They're definitely going to have to do something as the amount of people increase and the price goes up on it. There's something that's going to have to be done, I believe, but we shall see.
And it's not all bad news either. I mean, I just recently got done with my best service center experience in years on last Friday. And then you often see Musk responding to the people whose car crashed or any number of things like, "Oh my goodness, the car crashed, it saved my life." And he's like, "Are you okay? Great, we'll replace your car." He's not saying he's going to do it for free, but he's like, "All right, great, car should be replaced." It's being a normal human being.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, with that, we'll wrap up the show on that note. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up. That helps us. And if you haven't subscribed, it ain't getting any cheaper. So you may as well subscribe now. It's free. So
The price can only go up from here, just like autopilot.
It can't get any lower. I can guarantee you that, for sure. And with that, Casey, any parting words for us tonight?
Yes, I just released a smattering of videos over on my channel at youtube.com/CaseyGreen. That's KACEYGREEN. Got drag race videos. I've got all sorts of things. I've got a video that I'm working on right now regarding the 3-minute fill up. And I think that might be entertaining and interesting for folks. So you can also find that on there once I get it released. Thank you very much.
Very good. Mr. Connor.
This was smooth. Thank you, Nosotros. And thank you, everybody out there. I hope you have a great week. Speaking of, I want to do a little PSA. For the first time ever, I was not able to get a loaner when I went to my service center. And I've had my vehicle for 5 years now, 4.5. And I did not know this. but the Tesla Uber credit does not apply to the tips.
It does not. Yeah, I learned
Yeah.
that the hard way the last time I had to use Uber. But
I'm
you can
like,
use
yeah.
whatever level you want. It's nice.
Yeah. So just to let you know, if you
Just be aware.
if you give 120% tip, that's on you.
Yeah. Also, the minute your car checks out of service, those credits are gone. They used to expire that night, and now they're just gone immediately.
Oh yeah. So I saw that on mine. It said they expire in 3 days, but I guess they could also expire sooner. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, good to know. Good to know.
Be aware. Be aware.
Thanks, everybody.
With that, thanks for everyone for watching. Let's roll the music, and we will talk to you next week and find out what's going on in the Tesla life.
Stay positive. Test negative.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you,
Good
Lee
night, all.
Boone.